No bills have been introduced. The House comes to questions for oral answer. Question number 1, in the name of the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Health. Does he stand by all his statements?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, yes, within the context in which they were made.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
A supplementary question, Honourable Annette King.
Does he stand by his statement that, quote, this government has always made funding health its top spending priority? If so, why have the number of people refused a first specialist appointment, particularly orthopaedic appointments, increased in some DHBs over the past 3 years under this government?
The Honourable
Yes,
Dr.
I do.
Jonathan Coleman. Supplementary question. The Honourable Annette King.
If health funding is a top spending priority, why have the number of people refused a first specialist assessment for orthopaedics in the Bay of Plenty increased by 396% over the last 3 years under this government?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, that isn't actually correct. The reality is that data has not been collected, and this government is the first government ever to collect that data, and that will be available sometime in mid-2016. But I can tell you the Labor Party never paid any attention to that at all.
Order. Honourable.
Order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Annette King.
I seek leave to table an official information request I have received from the Bay of Plenty DHB pointing out...
Order. The document's been described. You don't need to say what it says. I'm happy to put the leave on that basis. It's an OAA report received from the particular DHB. Is there any objection to that being tabled? There is not. It can be tabled.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
If health funding is a top spending priority, why have the number of people from the West Coast refused a first specialist assessment for orthopaedics increased from 11 to 200 over the past 3 years?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'd like to see that document because that information has never been collected, and so there is a very incomplete picture which this government is building up. We are the first government ever to do it.
Point of order, the Honourable.
I seek leave to table an OAA from the West Coast DHB pointing out the increase over the last 3 years.
The document's been described. I'll put the leave. It's an OAA obtained from the West Coast District Health Board. Is there any objection to that being tabled? There is
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette
Does
King.
he stand by his statement that the chair of Tai Rāwhiti DHB did not say, quote, we have used all the fat in the system, we are really stretched, we can't sustain this pressure? In light of the email I have now received, which confirms the chair actually checked the report prior to its publication.
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I've spoken to Mr Scott today, and his point actually, and he's very annoyed about it, is that he was quoted out of context yesterday, and his words are, Annette King is way out of line.
Order.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Order. I have a point of order from the Honourable Annette King, and it will be heard in silence.
I seek leave, Mr Speaker, to table an email from the Gisborne Herald which points out that the chair actually checked the story before it was published.
On the basis that the statement's been disputed in the answers given, I will put the leave. It will be for the House to decide whether that particular email would give further information to the House. Leave a thought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is objection.
Minister.
There was objection.
There was an objection.
Order. Just ask there was an objection.
No. He says not an objection.
Order. I heard an objection coming to my right-hand side. The easiest way forward is I will put the leave again. Leave is sought to table that particular email. Is there any objection? There is objection. Supplementary question. Order. Every member has a right, with leave is put, to object. It doesn't need to take a course from my left-hand side to note it.
I don't like the truth.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Well, I'll accept the supplementary question when the members' own colleagues settle down. Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
Has he seen the report in the Gisborne Herald today about the Tai Rāwhiti DHB financial position, which is now reporting a $2.1 million deficit, which was worse than budgeted, If so, why are they having these problems if they've got sufficient funding?
Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman, either of those two supplementary questions.
Haven't seen that report, but the report I have seen is the one from January where the chair of the board said actually the funding is adequate.
Supplementary question. Honourable Annette King.
Why should New Zealanders believe or trust this minister when he told this House on the 22nd of October last year that New Zealand had 4 isopods to safely transport Ebola patients to high-level isolation, when the Ministry of Health advised Barbara Stewart, Kevin Haig and myself on the 30th of October that they were still waiting for them to arrive in New Zealand?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
I think it's very interesting about that, Mr Speaker, is that member was given a briefing in good faith, and she said that she would accept it in good faith and that what happened in the briefing stayed in the briefing. She's clearly broken it. She's impugning my integrity. I think actually it reflects much worse on her.
Order. We had complaints yesterday about the level of noise coming from some on my left. I will have no choice today but to be asking a member to leave if that sort of level of interjection continues. Question number 2, Fletcher Tabuto.
Thank you,